people. We're here. We're back. Uh, Unfortunately, the good old Aggies, man, the good old Aggies, um, couldn't get the job done in the elimination game against Oklahoma in the semifinals. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Not absolutely stand on what I said by that we was going to beat Oklahoma and everything, man. But unfortunately, we just couldn't get it done. I'm not going to eat my words on anything like that. I don't have any regrets. All right, I don't have any regrets about this baseball team in general. What do we know going forward so far as next season and beyond? We absolutely made the best coaching decision, period. All right, now we know that we did indeed hire the best fit for this Texas A&M program. Understand what he's did this year. He's won the SEC West for the first time, and he's gotten to the College World Series and gotten to the College World Series finals for the first time in A&M baseball history. That is monumental. All right. It's just this year in particular, OU had our number. They had our number in a big way. What did I like about this game? I like the simple fact of that although we gave up those three runs didn't come until the bottom of the second or the third inning, I believe. And we kept the ball game close. We kept the ball game really close, man. Only thing about it was that pitcher for OU and that guy and that little youngster was a freshman. Good God Almighty, man, he's going to be that darn good going forward. So OU fixed every miscue that they could fix within this College World Series period, man. They didn't have any errors like that. A&M had one costly error that costed them one run. All right, I so much hate that for Jack Moss, but the thing that we do know about Jack Moss is that Jack Moss will be back. All right, the guys that we did lose, and I did not see the post-game speech from Troy Clutch, but that's one of the guys. Shout out to Troy Clutch for just being a leader that everyone expected him to be, being that he was already a national champion. All right, he had came from Oregon State. He came from that 2018 Oregon State team. He had already won the national title. He just wanted to help another team do it that hadn't even much been there before. All of those guys played the part, man. Dylan Rock, he played the part. Jacob Pollock came from Stanford. He played the big part. All of those guys will be leaving. All right. I expect most of those guys to go into the MLB draft. Not going to say that those guys are top draft heavy, but I expect all of those guys to go to the MLB draft. Jacob Polish, he be a late round pick. Dylan Rock, a couple of late round picks as well. But like I said, man, I expect all of those guys to go into that first round go into that MLB draft without any regret. All right, so we still have a couple of guys behind. And them knows going forward on what they have to fix. All right, and for one thing, it's pitching. All right, we know that we have to fix our pitching going forward, and that's that. All right, so when we get that fixed, and when we get a couple more other things fixed, which is our errors for sure, we know for sure that this ball club here, we're not going anywhere. Understand that this Texas A&M baseball team will go down as one of the greatest baseball teams in Texas A&M history for what they did and what they accomplished. To get to the semifinals, for me, just broke everything that was put out there. All right, it's just they had to go up against tall tasks. They had to go up against tall tasks, man. You also need to understand that all recruits that are coming in now, they know what they're walking into. All right? Some of these guys that were recruited that's coming into this 2020, that was a part of the 2022 class, Most of these guys weren't recruited by Jim Slauson. All right, most of those guys were recruited by Josh Childress. But they know what type of coach that they have, and they know the level of expectation is placed on the Texas A&M baseball team going forward. We have high expectations, so next year it will only get higher. It will only be higher. Can you now go into, first of all, can you win in the SEC next year? In which, if anybody didn't know by now, now you do know we can win in the SEC. We won the SEC West title for the first time ever. We can do all of those things. Can you go into your can you go into your regionals? I say super. Can you go into your regionals next year, in which, if you do get a chance to host another regional, can you go into your regionals next year and do the same thing that you done last year, but do it even better? Can you sweep your way back into it? Or if you don't sweep your way back into it, can you roll through an elimination and say, no, man, I'm here? Understand that we swept our entire regionals. That, by far, went down as one of the best teams to ever do it at Kyle Field. They swept their entire regionals, man. Entire regionals. Next year, we'll get another shot at it. All right? Can the record be better next year? Okay? Understand this about the win and loss record. You can be a great team, but if you don't make it up out of those regionals, then, hey, the ranking is good at the end of, the postseason or at the end of the season or whatever. But what do you have to show for it? Just a lot of wins and not many losses? You don't have a College World Series berth to show for anything. At the end of the season, okay, you got that. A lot of guys have left. They got drafted high, okay, you got that. But if you don't have anything to show for it, it's like, what was this for? Prime example is Tennessee. What was all that for? To not make it out of the regionals? They will go down as one of the best Tennessee teams in history. One of the best baseball teams in history. But they won't have anything to show for it when it's all said and done. No team that is going to play for the college baseball national title is a ranked team. None. None at all. These are all unranked teams. That's amazing how baseball works. That's amazing how basketball works. Football is the only sport in where you have to be ranked to get inside of the national title race. You have to be ranked, man. That it is. That's why that's one of the hardest sports in college. That's one of the hardest ones. Baseball is different. Basketball is different. Any other sport is pretty much different. Football, this is why they created the college football playoffs. Only thing about the college football playoffs is that it's only the best 4 teams. So you have to be ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get inside of that. Football is really hard, man. It's only a couple that has come through and done it. Like I say, baseball is the same. Mississippi State was an unranked team last year. And they came through and they won a national title. All right, so A&M has their highest seed ranking ever in College World Series history. They were the 5th ranked seed. We've never been ranked 5th. College World Series history. Not that I know of. All right, that was our high seed. Then we made it to the semifinal. We just got beat by Oklahoma. All credit to Oklahoma. Oklahoma is going to do wonders. Now I believe that was probably a taste of what Oklahoma will have in the years out when they come to the SEC. All right. A lot of Texas fans, they're going to let you know that, hey, man, y'all doing all that. Y'all still ain't got no national title over there in baseball. That's okay. We'll be back. We'll be back. Let them have their fun. We'll be back. You guys also need to understand this here. This is Jim Slauson first year. You can best believe in that next year, we're going to go a whole lot further, baby. We're going to go a lot further. And when I say that, I'm not speaking of the national title game. I'm speaking of we may get to that semifinal games, and we may just lose the last semifinal game, in which it was split 1-1. We may just do that. I don't expect us to get boat race in next year's College World Series. Oklahoma indeed put it on us this entire College World Series. They're 2-0 against us. Knocked us out. 5-1 to end this game. 13-8 to win the very first game. I give all credit to Oklahoma. All right? I'm going to say this once again. I give all credit to Oklahoma. I see somebody saying now as, I don't know how you guys pronounce the guy's name, but a guy from TCU will help us, and we have USC beat pitcher transferring in. So once again, man, Coach Schlossnagle is going to make a living, at least. You've seen him make a living off this year's transfer. Next year, he's going to do the same thing. Get in there, transfer a little bit until he gets a class rounded out in recruiting in which he wants to see it at. He's going to use his resources, and that's one of them. I told you guys like this once before. I have no doubt that Jim will get us a national title. All right? I have no doubt about that. I know he's at TCU, and he did not get TCU a national title. I understand that. This is a different Jim Schlossnagle. It's nobody that's at Texas A&M that shouldn't believe that we can go and win a national title. Although this is Texas and we're known for a whole lot of football, understand that our baseball teams down here are very good as well. We're very, very good. All right? So, I told you guys this once before. We don't just want to win in one sport. We want to win in many. Baseball is one of them. Jim got me off of preaching football 365 days a year to now digging deep into baseball and buying in. I bought into him. And he brought me this far. Okay? I can't sit up here and say that I watched all the other teams because I did not. What I did see is this team, like I say, man, I go back to this and I'm sounding like a broken record, make a lot of history. And I want to continue to watch that, and us Aggies are going to continue to watch that. So it's nothing to be sad about, nor is it nothing to be mad about. All right? We just know now, moving forward, that we have some of the highest expectations there's ever been around this baseball club. And that's with the exception of a new decade. So if you guys can remember, I made something back then speaking on the decade of not necessarily dominance, but the decade of sports in general. It's looking like OU's, it's looking like Oklahoma's year this year. They've won in softball. They didn't get a national title in football. Okay, we know that. But it's looking like their year in other sports. I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be dead honest with you on this one. Oklahoma is the red hot team, and it's the best of three in that national title game. I put all my money on Oklahoma. I put all of my money on Oklahoma this year. I believe that in baseball, in which is softball too, in which they just won in, they were very dominant in softball. I believe that we're looking at Oklahoma. I believe that we're looking at Oklahoma's best baseball run in both of the two opposite sports. Well, both of the two male and female sports. We're looking at a dominance of Oklahoma taking over on the world's biggest stages. The opponent who they'll get, in which we don't know yet, either Ole Miss or Arkansas, I'm going to put my money on Oklahoma, man. I'm going to put it on them. They will indeed put on the show. And like I say, man, their pitching is out of this world right now. Their hitting is too. I'll give them credit on that, but their pitching is out of this world. So it is what it is. And we'll continue to regroup from here. All right. So that's just what it is, man. That, hold on, man. So Kangaroo Black. So shout out to Kangaroo Black here. If you guys don't know Kangaroo Black, Alabama fan, ever since Bear Bryant days, if I'm not mistaken, because he's a older gentleman, watched way more games than what I watched. So Alabama football fan. So I'm gonna have to read this comment. He say, bro, I watched the entire game. First college baseball game I've ever watched from start to finish. So I made a video. I was rooting for y'all. I was rooting for y'all since y'all are SEC, but I'm so sad y'all lost. And I thank you for that. And I believe now around the entire country, man, and that's crazy coming from an Alabama fan, right? But I believe that now across the entire country, people know who Texas A&M really is. I told you on the last video, we were very regional. Now they know, so far as the coach that we have, this team is national. All right, this is a national baseball team, and you're going to see a lot of guys that wants to come and play for Texas A&M going forward. I'm telling you guys that what I know, man. I just told you that this is their first ever year winning the SEC West. We did not win the SEC, in which we won the SEC in 2016. But we didn't win it this year. Got bounced out in like the second game. But that was fine. So this team has set up the future so bright that nobody can look at and say, wow, I didn't think that we'll get here. And for us to have Alabama fans and also other fans pulling for us, Texas fans as well, don't let them fool you. But even those guys, and understand the quote unquote moral victory thing, but if those guys are giving you like a standing ovation, just say, man, I can't believe that y'all got that far. And for Kangaroo Black to watch his first ever baseball game, period, speaking college here, just sit there and watch from start to finish. That says something. We've now gotten attention of people around the nation, man. Understand that football is the holy net. All right, so we know how we feel about our football. That's fine. But it's another sport that's starting to emerge on that level of where you gotta watch them. Hey man, have y'all seen A&M lately? Hey, have y'all seen A&M baseball lately? Well, y'all need to watch them. They're looking very, very good. All right, so another comment right here. We got pitchers coming back next year in Dallas, Detner, Rudis, Prager, Cortez, Moo. Don't know if Childress is coming back. Scormo, plus the ones who didn't get playing time this year. Man, we have a bunch of people in the bullpen. We got a lot of people in this bullpen. First off is Detmer. I believe Detmer, if he comes back with that experience that he had, look out for B. Detmer to be one of the more hands-down fluid pitchers in all of the SEC next year. He may go down as one of the best pitchers in college baseball for that particular year in 2023. I can't tell you guys enough of how I'm ready to see baseball next year again. I'm ready to see it again, man, because like I say, man, we witnessed something here. Now I know when I do need to make a summer vacation, the week of, stuff like that. But I'm ready to see these guys next year, man. We aren't going anywhere. We aren't going anywhere. All right, so like I say, man, you got to give credit to everybody in Omaha. Everybody showed up. The fan support was good. I think we had about 23,000 people at this game. And it was really, really good, man. So a couple of teams, to the 8 teams that made it. To the ones, that got sent home early, man, and it is what it is. We got a couple of guys come through the transfer portal. So our pitching bullpen is stacked for next year. We have a deep depth chart so far as pitching next year because we primarily know what our, biggest downfall was going to be. It was going to be the defensive side. But we started playing good defense after that loss we took to Oklahoma, man. So a lot of you guys have to really, really dig into what I'm saying right there, all right? So, like I say, it's going to be a lot riding on this team coming into next year. Um, I don't take anything away from this team. Nobody shouldn't take anything away from this team. We lost, man. It is what it is. Uh, what we do know now going forward is that we're going to make a lot of people mad because A&M is going to every bit of pop up on the radar as a ranked team next year. And A&M is going to start finally, I said finally, making Omaha their home. Okay? They're finally going to start making Omaha their home. Understand that if we go next year, that would probably be the first time ever where we win. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and check those stats now. So, if we do go next year to the College World Series appearance, that will be our first time in Aggie baseball history to where we've made back-to-back appearances in Omaha. That sets the bar for many, many teams that have come way before them. Like I said, man, this absolutely tells us that we made the right coaching hire for Jim Slauson at the right time too, man. You gotta understand the timing. The timing was absolutely brilliant by Ross Bjork. A lot of people don't like Ross Bjork because of, he was at Ole Miss. I understand this part. Not us Aggie fans, but we're talking about, just people kind of like around the nation. A lot of people don't like him because of, the moves he made at Ole Miss, quote unquote. But Ross Bjork has learned from some of the best ADs that was well before him. All right, so you got to understand it's a hand-in-hand through this thing. Also, you have to understand that Ross Bjork has been in the SEC for a very long time. A very long time. And all credit to A&M's chancellors for making that hire of Ross Bjork when they needed to make it. All credit to them making the hire of them going and getting the former AD that said LSU as well. So, like I say, man, it was a hell of a season. Now we move on to football, move on to volleyball. I'm anticipating softball season now. I'm anticipating Buzz Williams to see what he's going to do in basketball, in which you guys will hear a lot of these podcasts about basketball now. Like I told you guys before, man, this podcast was going to build itself out. You guys just had to be patient with it. This is the first of a year where I've done baseball podcasting. All right, so you can best believe that this podcast will only keep growing. I won't slow down until I've reached the pinnacle of all of A&M sports that I'm talking about. I've reached track and field somewhat this year. Haven't reached a lot of softball, like I say, this year, but I will. It's Squarian team. I'll reach those guys this year. Cheerleading squad, for the ones that didn't know, they're called kind of pretty much like an Aggie Spirit squad. But I've reached that. Hockey, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about hockey. A lot of you guys are going to be mad at me about that, but I would not reach out about hockey because I would not sit there and watch a hockey game. I won't, man. I just cannot do it. But it's a lot more other sports that is all Aggie related, man. Football ain't just the only topic. All right, so I had to grow out of the norm of covering everything, and I really, really enjoyed covering baseball this season, and I really, really enjoyed covering the College World Series and talking to a lot of you guys this season. So we eliminated teams like Texas, which is the biggest elimination in program history. We can actually say we own them in the College World Series, so far as that is concerned. We own you guys there. Well, so far as, just this year is concerned. We got rid of them. We got rid of Notre Dame. We just couldn't get rid of Oklahoma, man. Oklahoma was a nail in the coffin, and they were a thorn in our sides in a huge, huge way. I'm looking back, guys, and forgive me, I keep on kind of looking back. I'm trying to see where in the heck is my son at. My little baby boy is on that bike. He got on that hill, and he's riding around everywhere. But I indeed anticipate this team. If they can do this, this would be very monumental, and we will know for sure where this baseball team is headed. If they can win the SEC West for the second time in a row, that's sending a message to Arkansas. But that's not only sending the message to them, that's sending the message to the entire SEC West Conference, so far as baseball is concerned. If they get back-to-back titles like that and they win the SEC conference, period, oh my goodness, man. The SEC is in for a rude awakening, but then again, this is what the SEC wanted. They wanted more competition. All right, like I said, we won the SEC tournament in 2016, but that's not enough. That is not enough. So, just to give you a glimpse of the conference tournaments that A&M has won in past history, Southwest Conference is where we're going to start at. That's where we'll absolutely start at. They won that in 1986 and 1989. Imagine how long we were in the Southwest Conference for, and we only have 2 conference championships to speak of. 2. You know how long we was in that conference? A very long time. Way before I was born. A very long time. The Big 12, in that conference, we've won 3 of them. We were in that conference for a very long time as well. And we only won 3. Southeastern Conference, in which we've been over here for 10 years, we've only won the conference 1 time. Conference tournament champion. So regular season conference champions, this is, what we can hold up, but I hate to hold that up and we don't hold up the conference championship trophy. So regular season, Southwest Conference, we've won that 1, 2. We've won that 15 total times, and which is huge. We won that 15 total times. Big 12 Conference, we've won that 4 times. All right, it's just conference division championships. This is our first ever time winning it. First ever time. So, like I say, man, it's a lot of things in store for Jim Slauson. This is only his first year. First year, it couldn't have been a better job done than what he's done this year in particular. So that's how we know it's going to be a lot going forward. So College World Series appearances, we now can say we have 8 on the board. All right, so 1951, 1964, 1993, the 99, 2011, 2017, and 2022. We now can rest alone, like I say, and say that we have 7 appearances on the board. All right, now our win and loss record doesn't look good by the stretch of the imagination, but we at least got away from not winning in the College World Series when we get there, man. So we can scratch that, and it's a whole lot of things to look for. So before I get out of here, I just want to speak of these past teams, because a lot of you guys have told me about these past teams, and I wouldn't have looked at it. I hate digging into the past, but I wouldn't have looked at it, man. I wouldn't have looked at it a whole lot. So I'm gonna just take it back to 1951. All right, so Buell Bell was 21-11, and of course, man, back then this is a whole different stretch of baseball going on. So Buell Bell was 21-11. Southwest Conference tied for first. Southwest Conference co-champions, NCAA playoffs, College World Series berth. That was our first one. That was our first ever College World Series berth. All right, so we got there. Southwest Conference. Buell Bell going forward. 52, he was tied for 4th. 53, tied for 4th. 54, he was tied for 4th. 1955, he was first in the conference. Southwestern Conference champions, NCAA playoffs. Did not make it from out of those regions at all. So going forward, he kept going down until his time came to an end in 1958. All right, so 1959, Tom Chandler, he was 18-9, 11-4, tied for first in the Southwest Conference. Southwest Conference champions, NCAA playoffs. Did not make it from out the region. Scrolling all the way down to 1964, he went 19-8-1, 12-3 in the Southwestern Conference. He was first Southwestern Conference champions, NCAA playoffs, College World Series berth. He got there, So you keep going to 1966. And then in 1965 he was second. All right, didn't reach anything. Uh, he was first in 1966, 20-8, 9-6 in Southwest Conference, SWC quad champions. Did not reach anything after that. All right, so you got to keep going down here to 1976. Tom Chandler was still there. This when baseball opened up, had a little bit more games played. 40-13. That 1976 team was every bit of good as anything. All right, so 1975, he was 32-15. 1974, 31-13. Didn't reach anything until 1975, where he went to the NCAA regional. 1976 NCAA regional. He was first in the 1977 Southwestern Conference champions, NCAA regionals. 1978 back-to-back Southwest Conference champions, NCAA regional. Could not get out of it. Although I'd say that Tom Chancellor was one of the best Aggie baseball coaches out there from looking at that record right there. So we get down to Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson was every bit of good in 1986. He went 45-23. Tied for first, Southwest Conference co-champions, NCAA regionals berth. 1987, 44-22. Third, Southwest Conference champions, NCAA regional. That's it. 88, 52-15. That's the record that hasn't been amassed in a very long time. But I say that, and I'm going to get to the other. Tied for second, Southwest Conference, played in the Southwest Conference, NCAA regional. That was the berth. Didn't make it as far. I hate that those teams didn't make it that far. 1989 is the team that everybody tell me about that had a lot of first-round picks on that team. I'm going to get into it. This was their record, 58-7. It reminds you of somebody? Tennessee. This was Tennessee. Ironically, Texas A&M went through the same thing Tennessee went through. They could not make it out their regions. That's why I tell you guys, it's not all about the win and losses. It's about, can you make it to the College World Series with a record like that? Can you indeed scare your opponents going forward with a record like that? So 58-7, tied for first, Southwest Conference co-champions, NCAA regional. That's just where he made it to. 1990, 43-17. 1991, 44-23. NCAA regional, that's where he stopped. 1992, 41-20. Tied for was second, Southwest Conference, NCAA regional. This was the team where Mark Johnson should have won it all. This is where he should have won it all. And this is where I believe Mark Johnson was every bit of picked to win the entire thing. I honestly believe that. The 1993 team, and this is what I hear you guys talk a lot about, and I think you guys bring this up. The 1993 team, Mark Johnson was 53-11. 15-3. First in the conference. Southwestern Conference still. Southwestern Conference champions. He made it out of his regionals. NCAA regionals champions. College World Series berth. They got eliminated in the first two games. They lost both of those games, I believe. I believe they lost both of those games. I could be mistaken there, but they got put out of the College World Series, but they made it. All right? That's the record that you do want walking into those College World Series. You want that record to be solidified as this is how a national championship team looks with that record being as solid as it was. Shout out to Mark Johnson for amassing that record. I totally love that record. We have not seen that record at A&M since 1999. But the 1993 team should have won it. Mark Johnson, this was the same coach. Mark Johnson will go down as one of the best Aggie head coaches, Aggie baseball coaches ever. You know, I don't have to see a game. I do not have to see a game that know that Mark Johnson was the best baseball coach that A&M has ever seen. All right, Jim Slosh just put himself in another category because he made it to the semifinals. All right, but Mark Johnson, he totally denied everybody saying of A&M is not a good baseball team. They absolutely were. So 53 and 11, College World Series birth. 1991 went 31 and 22. 95, 44 and 22. Tied for second, Southwest Conference, NCAA Regional. Mark Johnson went 37 and 21. Third in the conference, no regional berth. 1997, 39 and 22. Third in the conference. This is when we joined the Big 12 by then, NCAA Regional. 1998, Mark Johnson went on a tear, 46 and 20. First in the conference. NCAA Big 12 champions, NCAA Regional. That's where he stopped it. 1999 was when Mark Johnson made his second appearance in the College World Series with his Aggie baseball team. He went 52 and 18. I'm going to say this once again. He went 52 and 18. First in the conference, Big 12 champions, back-to-back years. Back-to-back years, Big 12 champions. NCAA regional champions, NCAA super regional champions, College World Series berth. After that, you can tell Mark Johnson's time just started to kind of fade away. It wasn't until 2006 where they made a change. All right, so Rob Childress took over. First year, 48 and 19. Sound familiar? Sounds just like Jim Slauson. That's crazy to me. He went 48 and 19, Big 12 champions, tournament champions, regional champions, NCAA Super Regional. That's where he lost. 2008, 46 and 19 again. Lost in the Super Regionals. 37 and 24 again, 2009. 2010, went 43 and 20. Big 12 tournament champions. 2011, 42 and 18. First in the conference, Big 12 co-champions. Big 12 tournament champions, College World Series berth. All right, this is where it got interesting. Rob Childress himself put up a 50 and 14 record in 2015. That's hard to do. He got stopped in the Super Regional. He got stopped, and this is when we came to the SEC in 2015. After that, Rob Childress was 15 and 3. This is probably what should have told it all for Rob Childress, because he was 15 and 3. If that probably wouldn't have happened, we probably would have been speaking different about Rob Childress still being at A&M. But that next following season, man, that was kind of one of his worst seasons in program history. He went 29 and 27. This team absolutely was picked to finish last in the SEC this year. Was picked dead last to make to the College World Series, period. Only problem was that Jim Slauson, he saw it different. All right, 19 and 11 in the SEC. And a lot of people say, oh, man, the SEC was down this year. They were down, especially by looking at that record, 19 and 11. He was first in the West. So he was a regional champion, super regional champion, just lost in the semifinals this year in College World Series. That's about as far as you can make it as a Texas A&M ball coach. All right? Now, I do hate that this happened, but we absolutely know where we stand at going forward, man. Like I said, I really do hate that this happened, man, but we'll keep on going from here. And I want to name a guy right here that went in the, I believe he went in the, I'm trying to find the guy that actually went in the first round here. So let me see. We got a couple of guys that went in the first round, but these are from like 1970. We got a guy that went in 1998 in the first round. And it was a couple of those guys that came from off those 90 teams. In 2016, that's when indeed the entire team just left. That's a stretch of guys where I see a couple of them went in the fourth, some went in the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, the 10th, the 13th round, 14th round, 23rd round. I mean, man, it was an explosion of Aggies that left and got drafted that year. Totally. So getting all the way down to it, the guy that we had going the first round, this has been our latest first round pick, was Asa Lacy. He was the left-handed pitcher, and he went in 2020. All right, so Asa Lacy was, like I said, a guy that went in the first round, and he was the fourth pick overall. That's probably the highest Aggie. That's probably that's the highest Aggie that we ever had drafted going for fourth round like that. Now going forward, man, Jim Slauson is going to have a lot of these guys that are future MLB stars. The only thing that us Aggies are doing now is hanging around for the party. And we just want to see if we can win it all. We're able to do it this year. So as of right now, our trophy case is empty so far as the national title is concerned. But we have many of accomplishments that leads up to you knowing that next season it's going to be a lot of people that's putting their money on Texas A&M to win it all. The odds makers are going to indeed say, no, man, I'm putting my money on A&M. I'm putting my money on it. First season we seen with those guys to go. Second season went on it. Said best. If we get back-to-back berths in the College World Series for the first time ever, that money is going to stand tall on A&M. I'm riding with them. But like I say, man, this was a hell of a season. Shout out to Oklahoma once again. And shout out to everybody for just buying in. All right. Shout out to like I say, Kangaroo Black for watching this game for the first time ever. And we just thank everybody else that was along for the ride with A&M. Shout out to the Pringles Company for being along. I can't believe that, man. This was a memorable season, man. Very memorable. Now we're going to see if that same energy can translate over to softball, volleyball that's coming up, in which we have a brand new coach there, and football, which is the main sport, the sport that pays the bills, quote unquote. We're going to see if that can translate over to Jimbo Fisher, and if he can every bit of do everything that I know that he's ready to do. All right. So that's all I have for you guys. I love you all. Make sure you subscribe. #GeekMakers.